金色ラブリッチェ。くらー、朝っぱらから誰だ今日も読み上げてんのは。
I stopped the sutra CD I had going while I'd been meditating. What is the matter, dear visitor? Are you lost?
道に迷ってんのはてめえだよ。なんだこの CD。同居？ああ、100均とかによくある。怖いわ。日曜の朝からお迎えが来たかと思ったわ。
Did I wake you up? I'm sorry. Please forgive me. As you can see, I bowed my head.
次やったら CD と一緒に棺桶にぶち込むからな。なんかあったのか？
I was engraving a powerful sermon into my body to denounce the fear and agitation within me. This is how I've calmed myself down for a long time. It's the fruits of my meditation.
瞑想してたのは分かった。ね、日曜の朝から何が怖いんだ？お前日曜
I love Sundays, although I get so depressed I could die around 6 o'clock at night when Chiba Maruko-chan starts.
じゃなんだよ。今日なんかあんのか？
Actually, today, I told her what happened yesterday. About how I'd gone along with Sylvie's suggestion and how I would be going on a date with El-san. Do you know El-san? Heroina Caballero-san?
お堅そうなパツキンなら知ってる。あいつ、エロイナって名前なの？
Skip the jokes. I know her name sounds like erotic in Japanese.
エロいの？
She's the type who wouldn't begin to understand an off-color joke like that. As far as I know, she'll try to rip my arm off when she gets angry. She's more like some phantom going, "Give me your arm," than she is erotic.
はーん。で、そいつとデート。
That's how things ended up. It was currently 8 in the morning. Our date was at 10, so 2 more hours.
ふーん。
Wait. What's with that reaction?
いや、お前がエロい人とデートするのは分かったけど、俺にどうしろと。
I'm telling you, she's not like that. If I mess up today, she might take one of my arms.
ふーん。
Ria lit her cigarette with a flick. Hey, don't smoke in my room! This was a non-smoking dorm, but oh well. Do you have any suggestions? Like some surefire trick to a good date?
札束持ってって顔面ひったたけば、大抵の女は股間から突っ込んでくるらしいぞ。
In a healthy sense. Also, she's like royalty or whatever, so I doubt the money is going to help me here.
そうだ！
You have an idea?
せっかく日曜朝早くに起きたんだからプロキュアを見よう。あれ昔好きだったわ。
Hey!
なんだよ。てめえがデートしようが失敗して腕取られようがエロいことになろうが俺に関係ねえだろ。
But still, I was nervous and wanted someone to talk to.
ったく。
Luckily, Ria didn't leave. She took a seat on my bed and got comfortable.
ああ、まだライダーの時間か。灰皿ある？あと飲み物。
You're pretty much acting like you own the place, huh? She sprawled out, turned on the TV, and even demanded a drink. Thanks to Arena, I'd gotten used to this sort of behavior. She shoved her hand down her shirt and gave herself a scratch. I caught a glimpse of her collarbone, and it sure was sexy. She may have been making herself even more at home than Arena. Oh well, I got her a ramen to drink, then grabbed the cup I used to rinse my mouth so she could use it as an ashtray.
このコップ灰皿にしていいん？
Cigarette ashes are apparently sterile, so why not?
あ、ラムネ。今時ラムネ買ってるやつなんているんだ。
I've always enjoyed it, so I just so happened to keep a stockpile. Just like Reina, she opened the stopper in a familiar fashion with just a finger. That made me wonder, what was her family life like? If I were to use Kikuchi and Reina as examples, those on the commoner end of the spectrum were more familiar with how to handle Ramune, but inferring someone's home life through Ramune alone would be too extreme. I was curious, but also at a loss, since it was a difficult subject to bring up.
腹減った。飯は？
Just get food from the cafe. It was a whole 20-second walk away, too.
何この鶏白湯ラーメン？うまそう。
Sure is. I opened the ramen package I'd bought yesterday. I'd bought 10 or so, but 5 of them were already gone, thanks to yesterday's visitors. Losing yet another had made me feel pretty desolate. I could see the bottom of the bag.
何これ？
Ria grabbed something from the bottom of the bag. Huh? Huh? Red. Cylindrical. Oh, is it a Tenga?
か?
Why is that there? I checked the receipt from yesterday. Tenka was in my list of purchases I had noticed since I used the credit card. Ria checked its soft texture.
これはいわゆるあれか？男の自家発電の時の。
Yes.
汚ねえな。
It's unused. I caught it as she threw it at me. Not that I remember buying this. Damn it, must have been Reina. Probably a prank she came up with. God, she could have at least dropped the punchline yesterday.
まあ気にすんな。世の中にはケツに何かしら入れて自家発電する男もいるそうだ。それに比べたら多分健全だ。学生のうちからそういうのに頼るのはどうかと思うけどな。モテないおっさんが使うイメージだし。
Again, you're really off base here. I didn't buy it.
プロキュア始まった。静かに。
Damn it. I wasn't able to get a single piece of useful info out of Ria. Then at 9:30. It's getting late.
ああ、
When are you going home?
2ピース終わったら。
Ria watched all the way through Dragon Ball Super after Procure was over, and yet she was still lounging around. My date was in half an hour. I had to get going. Fine, I guess. Knock yourself out and leave whenever you're ready. Please don't smoke in my bed, though. Ria flapped her hand at me as if to say, "Get out of here already," without so much as a reply. First Reina, now Ria. The number of people coming over and acting like they owned the place was only going up. Oh well. As I tried to leave.
おい。
Yeah? Ria was still watching TV, but...
デートは知らねえけど、人間関係のことなら、まず初撃でガツンとかませばお前の勝ちだ。
It's not a competition.
第一印象で楽しませてやるって叩き込め。したら、お前なら失敗はしねえよ。
It was hard to wrap my head around her subtly delinquent example, but she did seem to be rooting for me. Thank you. She drove me off with another flit of her hand, and I headed outside. Whoops! I just barely avoided running into her.
おはようございます、市松先輩。どこか。
Huh? Yeah, for a bit.
どちらに行かれるかお聞きしてもいいですか?
Knowing my whereabouts was likely part of her reconnaissance duties, but it was kind of strange for her to ask it point blank. Still, honestly, answering on a date with Elsan could be oddly antagonistic. Thinking of heading into town with a friend.
お買い物ですか?
Something like that. I need to go out once in a while, you know?
それなら一緒に運動しましょう。そんな時こそスポーツですよ。
Haha, some other time. I've already made plans for today.
そうでした。お友達との約束は大切ですよね。
Exactly. So, I'm sorry about this.
はい、いってらっしゃいです。お気をつ。
I left the dorm as Akane-chan saw me off. Okay then. Time for my date with Ellis-san. What should I do? I was Ellis-san's escort, so I wouldn't be choosing our destination or anything. Still, shouldn't I have some strategy in mind? Making her angry would naturally be the worst case scenario. But even if I didn't, I'd sooner avoid ending on an awkward note. She and I weren't terribly compatible as it was. It would be wonderful if we could both enjoy spending time together. Oh. Oh, I like that hairstyle.
お待たせした。
Not at all. What a shocker. If I put it into Ria's terms, she landed the first blow on me. Elsan, she wore clothes like these too? Crap. This was so immensely out of the ordinary that it sent my heart racing.
どうかされたでしょうか?
Well, You wear clothes like these too?
日本に来るにあたって、それなりの服装は揃えています。
Made sense. It was an Imperial Knight's job to blend into their surroundings. It looks great on you.
ああ、寸法は完璧に仕立ててある。
That wasn't how I meant it, but yeah, I was glad I could pass it off smoothly. Huh. I'd never been conscious of Elsan since she was always hidden in Sylvie's shadow, but she was gorgeous. I knew she was beautiful, but she looked positively gorgeous right now. It wouldn't take much convincing if you told me she was the princess.
どこかおかしいだろうか。実は作ってはもらったものの着慣れてはいないのです。
It looks fine if you ask me.
ならばなぜそんなジロジロ見るのです？
Oh, I'm sorry. I looked away. Ah, crap. That got awkward real fast. Ria said as much too, but the first impressions were essential. My very first mission was to set the mood for a day of fun, and I already screwed it up. Elsan was just so different from usual that it made me nervous. I was having trouble sorting through my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Elsan had been timid up until that point, yet suddenly stood up straight.
タバコの匂いがする。ヒコ、まさか喫煙したのですか？
Huh?
学園のもの、かつ寮の中は喫煙が禁じられています。規則を破ったのですか？
She tensely raised a corner of her eye at me. Ah, thank goodness. It was the usual Elsan. You've got it all wrong. I was just near someone who was smoking a minute ago. Look, the smell clings to my clothes, but it's clearly not coming from me directly.
言われてみれば。失礼しました。最初から。
Don't mention it. We always seem to start off on the wrong foot, don't we?
もう。そうですね。
Elsan laughed for me. I felt a bit more relaxed once she started to act like her usual self. Luckily, I was able to change the mood.
参りましょうか。姫様のご命令です。今日は貴公に目いっぱい楽しんでもらわねば。
Yeah, we headed toward town together.
ニョキニョキニョキ。皆さん、おはようございます。ついに始まりました。エルのドキドキ初デートのお時間です。
実況は私、ソルティレージュ王国第9王女シルビア。解説には男女の恋愛と梅干しの種の中身の調理方法に詳しい神なる王女に来ていただいています。天神ですわ、天神。さあ、早速2人いい感じに歩いてますね。今のところどうですか、神なるさん。チャンピオンなかなか余裕を持ってリードしておりますわ。これは早いうちから積極的なアプローチが見られそうですわよ。いいですね。ワクワクしてきましたね。
Where were you planning to go today?
着くまでナイスショットをしておきましょう。そうするのが良いと聞きました。
You sure have picked up the trick to dates? By the way,
はい。
I turned around. I could see gold and silver hair in the bushes. You've noticed, haven't you?
はい。
Elsan, have you encountered any events recently where you threw a wig or something into a mysterious lake and received gold or silver hair from a goddess of some kind?
ありません。シルビー様たちがああなさりたいようでしたら、私が止める理由はありませんので。
This woman had some astounding loyalty. I won't say anything either then. Do those two really have nothing better to do?
本日は夜の始球式以外ご予定がありません。
Sounded like they were free indeed.
さあ、街に出ました。なかなか盛り上がってきたんじゃないですか、神なるさん。どちらもうまくセットポジションをとっていますわね。これは一気に決まってしまう可能性もありますわよ。なるほど、面白くなりそうですね。ところで、ここまで焚きつけておいてなんだけど、デートって具体的に何をするのかしら。そうですわね。私たち王族には馴染みのない言葉ですわ。男と女場合により同性でもかが時間を共に過ごし親交を深めること、またその様。ここまでは辞書に載っていたから知っているわ。レイナやクラスの子たちが言ってるのを聞くに、もうキャーって感じで楽しそうなのも知ってる。でも具体的には何をするのかしら、さっぱりわからないわ。同じくです。しかーし、そこはこの未来の淑女カミナル・ル・プルテア。日本の習俗にも詳しくあるべきと、日本のデートにありがちなことを調べてまいりましたわ。さすがミナ、小さい頃からいつも頼りになるわ。おっと、日本のデートのポイントですが、まず何と言っても男性は遅れてくるものですわ。そして待たされた女性はちょっと拗ねて、もう知らない、プンとするのです。オールもエルも遅れなかったわよ。すでに最初から大事なことを外していますわね。頼りにならない男ですわ。他に大事なポイントとしては、女の子が何かにつけてパンツが見えてしまったり、噴水に落ちてずぶ濡れになったり。外してならぬのは、女の子がはしゃいでいる時、向かいからやってきた車にはねられそうになり、慌てて殿方が抱き寄せるというものですわ。デートというのは波乱万丈ね。パンツくらいはともかく、毎度ずぶ濡れになって車にひかれかけているの？本人たちはそれほど浮かれてしまうのでしょうね。デート、それは楽しくも危険な夜のバカンスなのです。奥が深いわ。実はデートは誘うところからポイントが決まってますの。本来は男性が鉄棒にぶら下がって「俺と付き合ってくれ!」と誘うのが礼儀だそうですわ。女の子は OK ならイチゴのパンツを見せるのです。
What?
あら、私オーラの仕事を取っちゃったかしら。 あとこの国の女性はパンツを見せすぎじゃない？ですわね。ひょっとして我々が考える下着とは別にパンツという特定の合図があるのかもしれませんわ。またどこかの高原まで行きペンダントをくっつけてザクシャ・イン・ラブと唱えるとの説もあります。ザクシャ？愛を永遠にとかいう意味だそうです。ああ、永遠と言っても何回でも上書き OK なので大丈夫。他にも男性はトラックの前に踊り出てバーンで僕は死にましぇーと叫ぶのがデートの最も良い申し込み方に当たるそうですわ。惹かれちゃうの？武士道の国ですからデートでも支柱に活を見出すことが尊ばれるのではないでしょうか。なるほど、侍は奥が深いわ。聞いているだけで難しいのね、デートって。まったくですわ。二人ともさっきから街を流してるだけだけど、あれでいいのかしら。
It's nice to walk around like this, huh?
好天に恵まれましたからね。
We walked through the city together.
暖かくて心地よい。この街は良い風が吹く。
There is a lake nearby, so it is acting as a natural air conditioner. It could cause horrible humidity depending on the season, but compared to autumn or spring, this was the best time of year in my opinion. One of those prerequisites was that we were blessed with ideal date weather. And more preeminently than the climate or any of that other stuff, walking with a beautiful woman at my side made everything feel different. It probably seemed that way since I had walked around with Arena yesterday too. That had been relaxed and fun in its own right, but how should I put it? Today just felt incredibly special.
うわ、すごい美人。
誰かしら？モデル？ハリウッドスターでは見ないわよね。
誰だ？あの隣を歩いてる男。羨ましい。羨ましいけど、イタリタして気持ち悪いぜあいつ。だな。
Whoops! I reined myself back in.
なんだか視線が集まっている気がします。日本人から見て私はどこかおかしいでしょうか。
No, not at all. She was beyond gorgeous, that was all there was to it.
だが妙に注目されている気が。キーの視線もあるようだし。
Those weird looks were likely due to the smirk I had on my face. I'm telling you, the attention you're getting isn't bad by any means. More importantly, El-san, where are we heading? She had been escorting me somewhere this whole time.
ええ、すぐそこです。付き合わせた市松殿には申し訳ないが、私はいわゆる男女の機微というものに疎い。良いデートというものがわかりません。
Sure. As a man, I was pretty content with how things were playing out so far.
そこでせっかくの機会なのです。今日は市松殿にシルビー様の素晴らしさを知っていただこうと思う。
Things had instantly taken a strange turn.
こちらへどうぞ。この町の方なら説明の必要はありませんね。井川楽器店。
Huh. She brought me to a shop with an assortment of primarily pianos.
こちらをご覧ください。モデルシルビア。これが何を意味するかわかりますか？楽器の町出身の貴公であれば興味のあるところでしょう。
I was naturally familiar with it, but as prefecture, Hamachu City. The city was an unprecedented city of music, even in Japan. This was home to the headquarters of Yamata, the best piano manufacturer in the world, and Igami, the second best. The third best were presumably in America or Germany, but the aforementioned manufacturers were all solicited to produce their respective commodities. Those were the sorts of companies gathered here. If some massive earthquake or other disaster were to hit the city tomorrow, then worldwide instrument production would drop by half. Their presence here meant there were a number of musical instrument shops scattered throughout the city. But... sorry, but I have no real interest in music. This is a world-famous city of music, but that doesn't mean everyone living here is interested in that kind of thing.
そうなのですか?
I mean, if you went to a city like Vienna and started humming a tune in the middle of town, it's not impossible a passerby would join you and sing in an opera-like style.
それはないと思いますが。
I've never really played an instrument before, other than a recorder in elementary school. For that matter, I used mine for play sword fights with friends more than I ever actually played it.
そうでしたか。それでは今日のプランは練り直さねばなりません。
Oh, no, I know I just chimed in, but now that you know I don't know anything, I'd be delighted if you wanted to explain for me. Learning was fun because you didn't know anything after all.
そうですか。よかった。では改めて、こちらのピアノ、モデルシルビアというのですが。
Is it related to Sylvie somehow?
はい。シルビー様の注文を受け、デザインされたものなのです。
The conversation was back on a positive note. Wow, I know she's royalty, but having your own brand of pianos made for you is incredible. Since it was called Model Sylvia, I assumed that meant this piano wasn't a one-off, but part of a series. What series of events led to its creation?
シルビー様が昔、日本に出向いた時、井川から新製品のピアノが贈られ、それが非常に気に入ったことから、このモデルが量産されるようになったと。なかなかに人気を得ているのですよ。
In a rare turn, Elsan looked a bit smug. Well, the second-hand piano market is going quite strong these days, and new ones aren't selling well as a result. New brands are likely delighted to have royalty's personal support. It sounded like she wasn't overly familiar with those sorts of business-related details. I bet she was just happy that the piano Sylvie collaborated on was that popular. Guess there was no point in overcomplicating our discussion. If I recall, Sylvie can play the piano really well, right?
はい。ピアニストとしての腕は世界に名だたるほどです。
I heard as much during the expert planning class at school. But that's amazing. I guess royalty really does put their all into those sorts of refined pastimes. Maybe that's how it tends to go?
いえ、趣味というわけではなく、もともとソルティレージュの王室、シスア家の人間は楽団派と呼ばれ、音楽の素養を求められるのです。幼少期より英才教育を受けて育つので、シルビー様に限らず、歌や音楽に非凡な才能を持つ方は多いですよ。
Huh? Seriously? I had no idea.
まあ中でも、シルビー様は環境柄人一倍の努力が必要でしたが。
Mina-chan, was it? What's she good at?
カミナル様はバレエです。すでにプリマの中に混ざっても遜色ないと言われるほどの踊り手ですよ。
Wow. If I remembered right, quote-unquote, Prima was a top-ranking ballerina. That was pretty astounding at her age. On the other hand, are there no failures? Like anyone without a sense for pitch, for example?
音感がなければ楽器作りやホールデザインなどでどちらにしろ一流とされる水準を果たしています。いわゆる落ちこぼれはおりませんね。能力がなくても他で何かできることを探すのが王室の義務だそうです。
Huh, royalty sure is impressive. Now that she mentioned it, Sylvie had put her ordinarily unutilized physical prowess to astounding use just yesterday too. I guess the lives they led really were entirely different from those of us in lower classes.
ええ、国民より尊敬されねば王たる資格はない。これがシスア家の家訓。否、常識だそうです。だからこそ私もシルビー様のお力になりたい。
Hmm? I could hardly hear her as she whispered beneath her breath. It might be wrong for someone like me, who has no interest in music, to say, but you've made it clear how incredible Sylvie is. Plenty, in fact.
よかった。
El-san looked satisfied. This woman really did put Sylvie first. You know, though, at this rate, today's date is going to score a 0.
なぜです？やはり音楽に興味がないのにピアノの話では退屈でしたでしょうか？
That's not what I meant. I'm on a date with you today. Pointing out Sylvie's attractive points defeats the purpose. You should plan a date that teaches me what's attractive about you, El-san.
なるほど。しかしどうしましょう。今日はもうこのピアノを見ていただくことしか考えてこなかったのです。
No way. This was all she had planned for us?
エル選手、だいぶ詰めが甘かったようです。デートを命じるより前に、まずデートとはどんなものかから教えるべきでしたわね。そうね、トラックに激突もしないだなんて。
そうだ、今日は学園の武道場が空いているはずです。フェンシングなどご一緒にいかがでしょう。
I will wholeheartedly have to pass.
では、日本らしく柔道とか相撲とか。
That'd stir up its own set of problems if we did that. Why the heck were all her suggestions combat-oriented anyway? Imperial Knights apparently had 0 dating experience. Guess I had no choice. El-san, if you don't have anything else planned, would you mind letting me take over from here? I'm saying I'll be the one to escort you.
しかし、シルビー様のご命令では私が先導せねば。
If you actually can, I won't complain.
できないです。
What a cutie. I'll be taking the lead from this point on then. Let's have a day that's fun for both of us, El-san.
こらゲロ、何をなさるの？
I captured the blonde and silver-haired girls who had been watching us for some time now without even trying to hide. These two can tag along. We'll have more fun if we are together as a group.
でもオーラ、今日はあなたとエルの。
Stop telling us then. It's obviously going to make us anxious. Having the two of you here makes for a nice gimmick. Won't you feel more at ease with these two tagging along than if we were alone too, El-san?
そうですね。いつもに近いので。
El-san looked like she'd just been rescued.
でも今日はエルとオーラの。
You're right. Today is our day, which means whatever we want takes highest priority. We won't listen to your opinion, Sylvie. As long as you can spare the time, join us, okay?
無礼な男ですわね。
市松殿、仮にも姫様に向かってそんな。
The two of them snapped at me a bit, but...
いいわね。その方が面白そうだわ。ご一緒させてもらいましょうか。実はさっきのお店気になっていたの。
The princess in question was on board, so I had no complaints.
4人で街を流しましょう。オーラがトラックにひかれたら困るわ。
Huh?
仕方ないですわね。
El-san gave an exasperated sigh and then... She must have noticed that she was back to her usual self and flashed a tiny smile.
モデルシルビア、こんなタイプも出ているのね。以前国に贈呈されたものとは微妙に違いますわね。形だけね。枠に水ならを使っているのは変わってないわ。
Once we headed back to the shop from earlier, Sylvie began to prattle on with excitement. El-san watched over her quietly. Quietly, but also with amusement. She looks more herself when she acts this way, huh? She would warmly watch over those precious to her, all while keeping a level head and preparing for the worst case scenario that could pop up at any time. That was Elsan in a nutshell. Sorry to say, but her most appealing traits wouldn't be made clear even if we went out on a sudden date.
かたじけない。今日をお借りしておきながら。
She must have been aware of how incompetent she was on dates herself and appeared apologetic.
一応昨晩勉強はしたのですが。
Huh? Really? When our date was over, she brought up something intriguing. What did you study? It didn't matter what she had studied, but Elsan studying for a date caught my interest.
シルビー様に勧められた漫画をいくつか、あと女性誌も。しかしいずれも難しかった。例えば日本のデートではまずソフトクリームを買って、それを相手の顔面に叩きつけるのが礼儀なのでしょ？
What? If you actually did that, you would get them all sticky and ruin the mood. Nothing you could do after that could fix it either.
勉強不足です。
Elsan looked dejected. How cute. Then again, it's also my fault for leaving everything to you without coming up with my own ideas.
いえ、今日は私が先導する手はずでしたし。
Even so, a date is something you make together.
ですね。
Although we discussed it before, thanks to the watching over Sylvie and Mina-chan setup, Elsan and I were finally able to have a seemingly light-hearted conversation. If only things turned out this way sooner when we were alone, then there would have been nothing greater. I guess talking to her like I did Elena was still out of the question, though no surprise there. How did it feel when I was with Elena yesterday again, if I recalled? Ah, that was when I realized. This was an instrument store, but off in the corner.
なんでしょう。バレッタ？
Sure are. Barrettes, headbands, rings and necklaces. There was an array of fashion accessories. I checked again, but this was an instrument shop. There were pianos, violins, guitars and other varieties of instruments. There were also varnishing oils and cleaning implements for maintenance, but the only other things they sold were music sheets. Why accessories? I gave it a moment's thought, but... Oh, accessories, huh?
リサイクルですね。これバイオリンの留め具です。
These accessories were made from whatever materials could be salvaged from scrap pianos, violins or otherwise. I would recommend recycling instruments since people were prone to having lingering memories of them and they often used quality wood and metal. Upon a closer look, the headbands were from black lacquered piano exteriors and the clasps on the barrettes used the bows of violins.
日本はユニークな国ですね。楽器をアクセサリーにしてしまうなんて。
A large faction of Japanese religions do believe souls dwell in objects after all. I did think there was a mentality of once something you've used for ages has served its purpose, you may as well process it into something else. Since this is a city of instruments, it's especially easy to amass scrap materials. Back in elementary school, I made a wooden carving out of old piano parts too.
見てみたいですね。
I still have a picture. Take a look. I opened up the gallery app on my phone. The photo was quite old now and was dated around the time I was in elementary school. I was grateful that I could easily store photos from that long ago on a handheld device. This is it.
これはどんぐりですか？
No, it's a Mina bird.
なるほど。言われてみれば休館長のように。
You can't see it, can you? I bet you thought, is that seriously an acorn? It's kind of round.
はい。気を使ってどんぐりと例えましたが、ただの長細い球体にしか見えません。
I did originally try to carve a Mina, but the beak plopped off on me. When I tried to fix it, it kept getting smaller and smaller.
このどんぐりのヘタの部分、よく見ると鳥の足のようにも見えますね。
Elsan began to howl with laughter. Come on, don't laugh. This was made by an innocent elementary school carver.
すいません
Guess I must have nailed her funny bone. The laughs just kept on coming. I had been trying to make her laugh, but I never thought it would be such a hit.
失礼しました
It was a little surprising, as she'd only showed that side of herself for a few brief moments. She quickly returned to her usual calm self, but I just scored the greatest fruit of today's date. Elsan was pretty cute. That had been made clear. Oh, I know. Why don't I buy you one of these as a present? A certain woman told me that a man buying a lady an accessory is proof of a good date. A headband might not be your thing, huh?
いただけるならありがたくいただきますが
She always had her hair up, so it would probably be hard for her to use even if I got her one. Something that didn't impede her mobility would be best for her, things that jiggled around like necklaces, barrettes or earrings, which could easily slip out of place, were out of the question. That left. How about this?
ブレスレットですか
I grabbed a gold-plated bracelet. The best option that wouldn't impede her mobility would be a bracelet or a ring. A ring would clearly be embarrassing, so this was about the only choice left. What do you say, Elsan? Will you accept it?
でもよろしいのですか
Consider it a present. Then again, I guess Sortilege is the one paying for it, though. I showed off the aforementioned black card. It was sad to say, but my wallet was on the light side today. It was pathetic of me as a man, but
なるほどではありがたくいただきましょうか初デートの記念というやつです
thanks to that, she accepted the bracelet without any reservations. What do you think?
少々緊張というか落ち着きませんねこういうものをするのは初めてなのででも嬉しいです
I'm glad.
あらかわいいエロいのがおしゃれなんて珍しいですわね
おしゃれだなんて
That was when the other two unfortunately came back and put an end to the good mood we had going. Oh well, it was decent timing. Doing something pretentious like giving her a gift had me feeling pretty odd myself. Thank goodness Elsan had accepted it with a smile.
おらおら私には
If you want one, buy it yourself. It's your royal family's money. I won't buy it for you. I'm on a date with Elsan today, you know. If I gave gifts to anyone else, it would be like cheating.
そうねにしても懐かしいなリサイクルアクセサリー
Sylvie picked up a headband.
楽器の廃材を使った小物作り聞いたことはありますけど見るのは初めてですわね
I'm sure royalty hardly ever scraps instruments in the first place. With a large enough house, you could easily store broken or old items that had sentimental value. A part of it could be that it was characteristic of Japan's culture to have tiny homes.
ところでエロいなのそれ金属ですわね
そうですね軽いけれど硬いです
どんな楽器を使ったのかしら
It occurred to me that the other headbands were mostly made of wood, but this one was all metal. Instruments made of metal, like cymbals and trumpets, but all I could come up with that could be processed into this shape would be
ピアノ線よ
Sylvie promptly answered.
多分軸の部分は木でピアノ線を巻きつけてあるのだから硬くて丈夫でしかも軽いんでしょなるほどメッキで覆ってしまえば同じですものね
そういえば微妙にデコボコしています
Wow. You really know your stuff, Sylvie.
昔この町に来た時やったことがあるものあまりうまくできなかったけどねヤスリをかけすぎて表面が毛羽立っちゃって
She said that while tidying up her golden hair in the headband. When she visited a long time ago, huh? Sylvie giggled with amusement. The general mood was the same as usual after that.
にしてもいい天気。こんな日はゆっくり街を流すのもいいわね。
姫様、あまり目立つ真似はお慎みを。
そんなに気にしなくてもいいじゃない。
ターミナル様もです。視線が集まっておりますゆえ。
The princesses were being showered in attention from all sides, and their nightly escort was nothing short of frazzled. Such was the usual sight with a pair of unbridled princesses and a very ward guard. This was likely Elsan's most natural form. It was unfortunate that she and I only managed to be alone together for 1 short hour, but I think I liked her better this way.
ちょいとあなた。
Yes? The other princess prodded me with her elbow.
なんだか満足げになさってますけど、あなたこれでよかったみたく思っちゃおりますわよね。
Huh? How do you mean? As far as I was concerned, it was worth celebrating if Elsan and Sylvie were having a good time.
はあ、困った男ですわ。あなた結局エロイナの司令たるあなたを満足させるべき一日を妨害いたしましたのよ。
That comment really hit me where it hurt.
楽しく過ごすのは結構。けれど諸子を貫徹もできず投げ出すようではエロイナの今後のためよろしくなくてよ。
Harsh. I had nothing but good intent, but she had really hit the nail on the head. These girls who went through life shouldering their royal title probably thought of me as being undisciplined or having a lax personality.
なりますわね。こんな男にエロイナはともかくシルビー姉様が影響されてしまっては。こうなったら私が。
She seemed to have whispered something.
あら、みな、お腹が空かない？
そろそろ昼食にしようと思うのですが、いかがでしょう。
そうですわね。
So the conversation drifted.
お昼ご飯どうしましょうか。ねえエル、何にする予定だったの？
はい、日本の政治家がよく利用するという料亭、菊水を利用しようかと。
Kikusui? She just dropped one hell of a suggestion.
何か
Kikusui is the most impressive restaurant in the city.
はい、江戸時代からあるとのことで。
Hey now, we are seriously going to a place like that?
春から5回ほど行ったわね。美味しかったわ。美食大国日本にふさわしい味でした。
Hey! It might not be a big deal with all of your sensibilities, but I'd be a total fish out of water there. It might be okay to splurge and go there on some major occasion or whatever, but it wasn't somewhere you just walked into on a random day off. And wait, didn't that place have a dress code?
ソルティレージュの名を出せば免除してくれるかと。
Hey, come on! Hey! You're going to make me stick out like a sore thumb, so stop. Elsan looked like she didn't understand. I had thought this for some time now. She wasn't as bad as Sylvie, but she seriously didn't know how the world worked.
でも今は菊水の気分じゃないわね。あ、ねえ二人ともここなんていいんじゃない？
Yeah. Sylvie pointed to a shop we happened to walk past. It was a ramen restaurant. For how tidy it was, there were an excessive amount of blurbs about its home style and genuine Hakata-style selections. It was the sort of restaurant where all the employees wore t-shirts and used towels as bandanas. This isn't nearly as fancy as Kikusui.
ラーメン、今度はラーメン屋さんで食べてみたかったの。いいですわね。昨日のカップ麺には大変驚かされましたわ。3分であんな味ができるなんて。こちらも興味があります。
The two princesses were totally into the idea.
日本のラーメンは有名ですわ。友人のハリウッド女優も絶賛していました。ねえ。と言ってもメロンパンより美味しいとは到底思ってなかったけれど。 オーロにラーメンをもらってから気になってね、いいでしょ？
But man, sure is great, huh? I looked at the list of blurbs. Fresh straight from Hakata, authentic low hydration noodles, special black boar tonkotsu stock, and Inner Mongolian mineral salt. Uses 8 vegetable varieties sent from Sapporo. Restaurants that shouted these sorts of sales pitches from their rooftops were generally pretty iffy. There are better restaurants in the area, like Asayaka. That one's really well known.
いいですね、ラーメン。シルビー様ご推薦とあらば、私も楽しみです。
But Ella-san had the final say today, and it looked like Sylvie had already put the idea in her head. Well, I wasn't absolutely opposed to anything.
はい、ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
We left the restaurant.
ごちそうさま。すごいお店だったわね。はい。入った瞬間から違ったわ。見た？エル、あの張り紙。
はい。自身の問いかけに耳を貸すのが人生の根源。不覚にもドキリとさせられました。
何かを食べる、その一時にも自身に問いかけ答えを出すことが大事。勉強になったわ。店員の着ていたシャツにも感銘を受けました。笑顔100回100回の幸せがついてくる。まさにその通りですわ。日本には笑う角には福来たるという言葉があるな。いつも笑顔を忘れないでいたいわね。
メニューも5ページありましたが、全てに良い格言が記してありました。
4ページ目などは特に心が洗われましたわ。失敗はどんな食事よりあなたを成長させる。胸が晴れ晴れとしました。2人とも一番の言葉を見落としたのね。おトイレにこんな言葉が貼ってあったわ。今日を楽しく過ごすことが未来すべての幸せ。まあ素敵。
じんときました。
でも味は豚の方が美味しかったわ。
ただただしょっぱいラーメンでしたね。
あの小麦をそのまま噛んでいるような麺はどうにかなりませんでしたの
People have become so fussy that ramen restaurants with bizarre flavors are popping up all over. The market for universally agreeable ramen was being decimated by cup noodle companies. These places wouldn't prosper without an unusual bit of flair.
でも楽しかったわ。じゃあ次のお店行きましょうか。
Huh?
オーロの言ってた鮮やかってお店行ってみましょう。まだランチの時間に間に合うわよね。その後はメロンパンよ。レーナに新しいお店を聞いたの。なんとデーニッシュ風メロンパンですって。野球の始球式には間に合うかしら。そこの球場のご飯も食べてみたいのだけど。本日は胃薬必須ですわ。
Trying out a variety of restaurants was apparently an inevitable outcome when you're out and about with Sylvie.
シルビア様、時間ギリギリです。
はいはい。
あげてください。
いってらっしゃいませ。
Elsan saw off the ascending helicopter with a polite bow of her head. She stuffed her face until the very last second, huh? Our dining tour cut into her travel time to get to the baseball arena by car, and she had to fly there instead.
お姉様は健単家でらっしゃるから。
Sounds fine by me as long as she's able to maintain that thin waistline. Urp. It was rough on me though.
私も少々食べ過ぎました。ここでおいとましますわ。
あ、皆様でしたら私も。
いりませんわ。 迎えは来ております。
A limousine came along with a snap of Mina-chan's fingers.
エロイナはそのゲロを送って差し上げなさい。
うん。
Ah.
はい。
We were alone again on the way back. It feels weird for you to walk me home.
付き合わせたのはこちらなのです。これくらいさせてください。
I'd go along with it if she insisted. Okay then, once we turned here, the dorm would be straight ahead. Is it okay if we take a small detour? I could use some exercise to walk off all that food.
はい。
Our walk continued like so. The mountain path was a bit dark at sunset, but it was cool and easy to navigate through. With no one around, it made this the perfect spot. A certain someone had described their golden time as gazing out at the sun as it set on the lake. Phew! Our stomachs had finally settled. We were both comfortable.
本日は大変失礼しました。付き合わせておいて、ろくにエスコートもできず。
No, no. El-san remained her usual prim and proper self until the very end. But I looked at the golden bracelet that adorned the back of her wrist. It was a fun day.
うん。そうですね。
El-san's smile. How many times had she revealed that smile to me today? It was obvious she had fun today too.
本当は私が気候を楽しませねばならなかったのに。
No, no, you need to entertain each other on a date, right? I had a lot of fun today.
やはりシルビー様はさすがですね。市松殿の特性を会ったその場で見抜いていたなんて。
Best qualities?
あなたは周りの人間を楽しませることに特別な才能があるようです。
Ah. She made my heart skip a beat. A talent for entertaining those around me? It couldn't be. Nah, I don't have a knack for that sort of thing. It's the popular social butterfly types that have that sort of skill. I didn't. I shouldn't have such a talent compared to my classmates who were often the center of attention. I always erred close to the back of the room for as long as I could remember. More importantly, I only brought people misfortune. What does he mean by that?
どうかされましたか?
Nah. Well, there was no reason to complain to El-san about it, but I keep it to myself. The sunset sure is pretty. I changed the subject. Luckily, El-san was amenable enough that I could easily gloss things over if I put my mind to it.
シルビー様に何度も聞いてはいましたが、浜松湖に落ちる夕日は綺麗です。日本で見たゴールデンタイム、本当に綺麗。
Golden time, huh? That naturally brought Ria back to mind. Specifically, her vantage point next to the water tank on the school roof. The view up there was much more captivating, and I'd love to show it to El-san someday, but I promised to keep it a secret, so I guess it wasn't meant to be. Best keep that spot our little secret.
昔、シ
Mm-hmm.
ルビー様がこの国に来た時、見たそうなんです。
Yeah.
その時のことを国に帰って何度も言うので、私の日本のイメージはまずこの光景からです。仲のいい男の子と一緒に湖畔を駆け回ったこの景色から。
Ah. My shoulders twinged. A reaction almost of fear, even though there was no need to be afraid. Still, I couldn't help it, as it was a topic that really hit close to home. Hey, El-san, can I ask what happened back then? May as well ask while we were at it.
はい、小さい頃の姫様はよく私と同胞していましたので、 その時に何度も。
No, no, I'm not asking about the circumstances in which you were told. Sylvie came to this country a long time ago, right?
はい。日本はソルティレージュにとって友好国ですので、数年に一度は来訪の予定がありますが、幼い頃一度、1ヶ月以上の長期にわたって滞在なされたことがあります。
A long-term stay. It might be different if it were a brief visit, but she should have lots of free time on a long-term stay. Did she ever play with a local kid or anything?
それはもちろん、そうして現地に触れるのも友好の一環です。
Were those like school visits or other formal occasions? Or did she make friends normally and play with them? If it was the former, it would directly clash with my memories. At the very least, I'd hoped she was allowed to play at the lake where she could have fallen in and drowned. But if it were the latter, that would coincide with the girl in my memories, with that girl with blonde hair and Sylvie's past. Was it the former or the latter?
もちろん。
Which was it?
前者です。滞在とは申せ、王族は一挙一動が公務です。スケジュールには学校から養育施設、宗教施設などあらゆる施設への来訪が組まれていました。遊んだとはそういう意味です。
Huh. That made sense. There was no way something so convenient could ever.
がしかし、市松殿もすでにシルビー様の性格はご存知のはず。よく抜け出されて慌てたものだというのは、現在も護衛にあたる騎士員の皆の語り草です。
Then,
公務を抜け出しては外を駆けずり回って、現地の子たちとよく遊んでらっしゃったそうですよ。
the possibility was still there then. And
特に当時はこの辺りで町内会のキャンプ会をしていたとかで、そこに勝手に混ざっていたのだそうです。会の方々も相手がシルビー様と会って無下には追い出せず、いつの間にか参加者みたいに遊んでいたとか。
not only did the time and place match up, but Elsan just added another connection to the mix. The Neighborhood Association's camp. The one I had taken part in long ago.
本当に何度も何度も話してくださいました。本来叱らねばならない立場の私が口も出せないくらい。でも仕方ないか。初恋の方との思い出だそうですから。
Oh.
どうかされましたか？顔が赤いようですが。
It's because of the sunset.
そうですか。
I managed to play it off, thank goodness. We hung out until the sun had finally set and made our way to the dorms. Then, Elisan,
はい。
she ended up walking me back to the dorm, and a limousine was waiting outside to pick her up. Today was fun.
いえ、こちらこそ。
Our date ended on a good note.
ではまた明日学校で。あ、何か困ったことがあればいつでも連絡してください。貴公の生活は我々で責任を持ちますゆえ。
I will. Now that the magic of our quote-unquote date had begun to fade, Elsan had started to return to her usual manner of speech. Today was fun in its own right. But maybe it was better this way.
そうだ、食費ですが、朝夕が計上されていませんが大丈夫でしょうか？ちゃんと食べていますか？
She must have checked the black card's statement. Sounded like Elsan had a grasp of my lifestyle to some extent. Yeah, those meals are free, so I haven't been spending anything. Jogasaki wouldn't let me eat anything else, to be precise, but I would keep that to myself. I've been buying cup noodles up in bulk too. You know, what we had yesterday.
あは、でしたら安心ですね。昨日のカップ麺、あまりにも多かったので確認してしまいました。10個も買ったのですか。
She had apparently looked up the credit statement. It's always worthwhile to stock up on stuff like that.
生活の知恵ですね。そうだ、 それに付随して
Yes?
天下というのが買ったものの中にありましたが、あれはどんな商品なので？
It's a toy! Just thinking of taking a trip down memory lane.
そうですか。あ、おもちゃくらいならいくらでも使っていただいて結構です。
Can do. We said goodbye. Phew. It was a toy, right?
市松先輩、おかえりなさい。
Yeah. Akane-chan came rushing over to greet me.
今日のお買い物はどうでしたか？何かいいもの？手頃ですね。
Yeah, I didn't buy anything.
ウィンドウショッピングというやつですね。
Something like that. I had given Elsan an accessory as a present, but I decided to leave that part out.
差し支えなければお聞きしたいんですけど。
What's up?
先輩が今日一緒にいた方って女性ですか？
Well, yeah.
それはもしやデートですか？
Haha, something like that.
おー、先輩大人ですね。
She looked pretty worked up for whatever reason. Girls her age probably love topics like these. Mind if I head back to my room?
はい、お引き止めしてすみませんでした。
Nah, it's fine.
お疲れ様でした。
I said goodbye to Akane-chan and went back to my room. She's still here? Hey. I woke up the sleeping girl who acted like she owned the place. This is not your room. Ah!
あれでもベッドが汗臭い。ああ、そっか。お前の部屋じゃん。
Yeah, I'm just glad you remembered.
そっか。疲れたから横になってたらそのままか。
How long have you been asleep? Don't tell me since this morning.
俺、寝ようと思えば無限に寝れるから。
That just means you're dead.
そうなる前には起きるのが日課だけどな。
You were that tired? Have you been doing anything too strenuous?
日頃の疲れだよ、うるせえな。
Ria had the same nasty attitude and sharp tongue as ever. Come on, this was my room. This totally wasted the fun time I had with Sylvie and Mina-chan, and the great mood I had going from the date I wrapped up so elegantly with Elsan.
くそ、かい。
She shoved her hand under her shirt and scratched her chest. I was a little ticked about ruining the mood from my date, but having her suddenly show off her collarbone wasn't bad at all.
見てんじゃねえよ、変態。
You are the one showing yourself off.
スケベ。
All men are like that.
天下野郎。
Stop, that one goes too far.
このチェーンでかすぎて微妙なんだよな。新しく買い替えようかな。
The chain of her pendant had seemingly dug into her skin while she was asleep, and she repositioned it.
んでデートはどうなった？
It went well. We ate ramen.
ふーん。
After that, we watched the sunset together. Yeah, I do feel like we've gotten closer.
夕日？
I didn't tell her about you know where, don't worry.
ならよし。
I turned on the TV. Baseball was on. With that said, I had no interest in the match itself. I just happened to tune in during the interval between innings as it went to commercial. Before transitioning to ads, it displayed today's highlights. Ah.
今年日本一のチームを決める本ゲームは華やかな幕開けとなりました。
They were hosting replays of the baseball opening ceremony. It was a shot of the ball Sylvie threw, and it landed directly into the catcher's glove. Looked like a perfect pitch. Hanging out with her yesterday was worth it. Ria?
いや、シルビーってお前らのクラスのだよな。
Yeah. Even a suspended girl from another class knew about her.
帰るわ。世話になったな。
Sure. Ria indifferently headed to her room. Although she could be awfully brazen. On a closer look, Ria had washed the cup she used as an ashtray and even folded the clothes I'd worn to bed, albeit haphazardly. I could tell she was being considerate in her own subtle way. She was also curious about how my day had gone. Maybe I could consider her a good neighbor, tentatively anyway.